Yeah, just one other thing. I forgot if we talked about it last week. There's so much information on this stuff. My brain is
It was.
overloaded with we have like probably 30 pages of this stuff that we're going with notes. So one big thing is too is depression, all-time high. That has a direct correlation with testosterone. I was reading a study one time and it said 86% of people with low testosterone in the study and that was coming out in the blood panel had depression and vice versa. Most people that have depression, you take their testosterone levels, 86% of the chance they have low T. So, but when you
Hey,
go to the doctor, what do they do? The first thing to do is put you on an SSRI, and they, which actually causes your testosterone to be lower.
what's up, everybody? Welcome to this More Than Black or White. Your hosts, Paul, Brian, bringing you the goodness. We're working on an intro for the call for the podcast. So stay tuned. We're getting real professional, B.
Yeah, man.
Real
It's about
professional,
that
like,
time, man. We're almost at
huh?
60 subscribers. We need some intro music.
Brother, I told
You
man,
know?
we said in one episode, man, when we get theme music, man, we're serious business. Serious business, bro. Serious business. Hey, so it's interesting because looking back over the episodes, I think we're close to 30 episodes right now, man. I
Yeah, man.
think we're at like I'm trying to recall. I know we're past 25.
Mhm.
So I'm looking at like as I'm looking at the episodes and what we've talked about and even some stuff that we have in the pot, a lot of these topics that we talk to are related. And I noticed this really came to me when I was doing the editing and listening to our episode on testosterone, which you all most likely have seen by the time that we have this one out. So, what B and I are going to do in this session is we're going to have testosterone as the base. Okay. Because in that episode about testosterone, you can actually, if you want to check that out, you can pause this and go and check that out and then come back to this. You're more than welcome to do that. And we're going to have a little summary of testosterone in here today. But we're going to talk to one of the things that's fascinating, especially in Brian doing this with you, is that a lot of the things that we talk about, why as I mentioned, are related and also can be uh the word I'm looking for can be called out, addressed, acknowledged with tests,
Mhm.
numbers, measures that I think it's important for people to be aware of. So the reason I'm saying this, people, is because as we're talking about this, and I think this may be something we say in the beginning, Brian, have a notepad ready. Okay, have a notepad ready. Take down the content, the information that Brian is kicking, the information I'm kicking. Take down notes about the tests that we're going to explain here today, and just notice like if there are certain situations that you have in your health. I invite you to write them in the comments. Like, hey, this is coming up because our intention here is as we go on to talk to this is to provide you with the tools. You've heard Brian and I say a lot of times, like your general practitioners, while they've gone to school for a lot of stuff, there's a lot of stuff that they may miss. Okay. So we're giving you the tools. We're giving you the key to your health and well-being. So pay attention, damn it. Snap out of it, move your phone away and pay attention to what we got here. B, what do you think about that, bro?
I love it, man. Let's go. Let's go. Let's start digging into it.
Let's dig in, damn it. So let's go to the base of what this is all started with. We start with testosterone. So what the heck is testosterone? I know we hear about it all the time. Men are talking about it because they want to get big muscles and they want their dick to get hard and shit. So listen, man, testosterone it's a regulator of libido, regulator of mood, bone mass, fat distribution, muscle mass, strength, and production of RBC. Brian, tell them what the RBC is, bud.
Red blood cells.
Bless up, red blood cells. And guess what the red blood cells help with? Your sexual function. So if you have low testosterone, there may be it may be one of the causes of your sexual dysfunction. Now listen, you notice what I said here may be one of the causes. Why you say that, Paul? Because things are connected. If you go back to our heart episode and also nitric oxide, we talk about this as well. Message. Okay. So why is that important? Okay. Oh, also your testosterone is also responsible for the sperm production. Why the heck is this important? Well, because our environment, if you paid attention to last week, and Brian, I'm gonna have you chime in here for a minute because I know I'm missing
Yeah.
some stuff. If you pay
Sure.
attention to last week, testosterone in our society is dropping at an alarming rate. One of the stats that really stuck out to me that we talked about in the last session is that men's average testosterone level is 20% lower in the last 20 years. The average 22-year-old has the testosterone levels of an average 67-year-old that would in 2000 in the year 2000. Think about that, okay? A young virile man has the same testosterone level as a freaking 67-year-old man. Make it make sense. It doesn't. You know why? Because there's a lot of things in our environment that are messing us up. Things like deodorant, things like the glyphosate that's in the veggies that you're eating that are free of being organic. There's things in your in our cleaners. There's things even in the rubbers that we use when we're getting our touches, man. Come on, B. What the fuck? What is going on here, bro? What
It's
is
a shit
going
show.
on, bro? Like, B, before we get it, what are some, talk to us, because I've been talking too much. Talk to us about some of the things that really stuck out for you last time we did that. We talked about testosterone, bro.
Man, like you hit everything on the nail. A lot of our xenoestrogens, which are basically environmental estrogens, everything that it's in our water. I mean, we have fluoride in our water or tap water, which is, I think we coined it as recycled piss pretty much. So we have,
Damn. Yes,
yeah,
we did.
fluoride, which just destroys your body. A lot of people don't realize that fluoride actually causes tooth decay, doesn't make your teeth stronger. It actually dumbs you down. That's what they used to do with people in prison. They give them a lot of fluoride so they wouldn't act up. One of the when you
Damn.
I learned one thing when I was over in Germany. What they did with it, what the Nazis did to the Jews, they gave them fluoride so they wouldn't revolt. It would just like dumb them down. It would suppress them. So Nazis actually the ones that kind of used that the first into mass you know production to try to like almost like doing a little bit of a test. Chlorine that's in our water just destroys our gut. You can't have good testosterone if your gut is destroyed. Most people walk around with dysbiosis, which is basically too much unfriendly bacteria compared to friendly bacteria because every time they get a tummy ache, they go out and they do it, something for their stomach and it just blows everything up like what is it called?
Like an antacid?
Yeah, like an antacid, or when you have like you're trying to fight an infection. I'm drawing a
Oh,
blank right now.
antibiotic.
Yeah, it's an antibiotic. Yeah,
Yeah.
antibiotic. It's like basically putting napalm in your gut and just blowing everything up. Yeah, you're killing the bad bacteria, but you're also killing the good bacteria. And we kind of talked about a little bit of nitric oxide when you also a lot of good bacteria is in your mouth. When you put mouthwash in there, that's like it just blows everything up again. And so you're not getting enough um, good bacteria in your body, which will lower your testosterone. So we can go down. Then they also have something called atrazine. Remember, we talked about that a little bit. Basically,
Yeah.
change the male reproductive system and it creates ovaries. Like people are like, "Oh, I don't believe you." You literally just like, not that I'm like a Dr. Google over here, and I think Google is basically a propaganda machine, but you can actually put in what does atrazine do to the male reproductive system, and it'll tell you right there, probably page one. It'll turn your body into you'll start creating ovaries. You start developing ovaries. So, oh, you're gonna put me on the
What?
test, huh? All right, let's see.
Yeah, buddy.
All
You
right.
damn right, man.
What
I
is
love
what,
this
what does
stuff.
atrazine do
What
to a male?
does atrazine?
Yeah, atrizine, I think atrazine.
Is that it?
I can't say that. Yeah,
Oh, it's
maybe.
Atrazine.
Yeah, there you go.
What does
Do
atrazine do to
do to
the
males,
what?
males. Yeah, there was
I put
yeah,
males like letters.
yeah.
It's the pressure, B. Look, atrazine demasculinizes male gonads, producing
Hmm.
testicular lesions associated with reduced germ cell numbers. Oh my God.
Yeah, and there's another one. If you probably keep scrolling down, like what it'll do, it'll say it'll actually create ovaries in men. So they actually did a study on a bunch of frogs where they did like they put the average amount of atrazine that humans consume, and they did that for about maybe I think it was like 4 or 5 months. Yep, there you go. And about 4 or 5 months, and actually out of the 30 or 40 frogs, like three of them actually were able to give birth. Three of the male frogs were actually able to give birth. So, and this is stuff that's in our water. So that's another reason, really we shouldn't really be drinking tap water. You all right there, buddy?
Bruh.
Yeah. So when people
Yo, let's
were like,
bring it
"Oh,
back up when you first mentioned this to me, man. I was like, this is crazy, bro.
yeah,"
And
and we
like
have such
reading it,
for
like I remember you said specifically back then, you were like they were chemically castrated.
yeah, and like and one thing you mentioned about what testosterone does, it also helps not only with sperm production, but the amount of sperm you produce. So if you look at infertility issues these days, man, it's crazy. I've read things by the year 2050, like less than 5% of males will be able to have kids. It's
Bruh.
crazy if they keep going down. It's we have so much crap in our water, and it's all because of big pharma and the 1% just trying to make that money, which we can, a little bit touch into that as well. So,
No, so
you know,
wait 1 second. So oh yeah, I'm thinking of it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Junior when he has a baby. I had to look that up. I'm like, oh my God, it's that. It's like, look, man, shoot,
yeah,
truth in comedy and truth in fiction. B, so I just want to pause for a second on what you said, right? Because one of the reasons we chose testosterone is because of men's part of it is men's health. Now, this is also for women too, which we're going to touch on in a moment. Okay, so testosterone is in every body.
mhm,
Um, I think it's interesting to really that we're talking about this, and I want to highlight the fact what you said about infertility, because there's a lot of scenarios where people are having difficulty getting pregnant. They're spending a lot of money on IVF treatments and all these things, even like go to the length of adoption. When people, I
yeah,
just want you to be aware, like, okay, while there may be some other infertility issues, please pay attention to these items that we're discussing, okay?
yeah,
Because you could be saving yourself a lot of headache, a lot of saving your body a lot of chemical processing, and you could be saving yourself a shit ton of money, okay?
yeah,
By really just paying attention. So while you listen, again, disclaimer: Brian and I are free of being medical doctors. We are health and human professionals, okay? And
yeah.
we also care about your well-being because like we've experienced a lot of things and want you to learn.
Yeah, and a lot
Um,
of it, we're regurgitating a lot of stuff that we've learned from amazing doctors out
Yeah,
there.
man.
So we're
Yeah,
not
yeah. I
just
mean,
like
the research is all out there. I mean, listen,
researchers
people,
out there.
you look, if you're like these guys are full of shit, okay, go ahead, go on Google. You saw what we just did, right? I did that for a reason because you got these 10 fingers, right? That you can type on a keyboard that you can find in almost any location in the US and all across the world, and you could type in these things to research for yourself.
Yeah, it's
Shit,
it's
man.
tough. Like, like one of the biggest things too is statins. They just destroy your cholesterol, which
Statins, you
destroys
said
your
statins?
yeah,
Okay.
statins, which is basically destroys your cholesterol. There's never ever statins have nothing to do with heart disease. The world's largest study, the Framingham Heart Study, they did over tens of thousands of people. They never showed that a statin lowering your cholesterol will prevent heart disease. And actually, the opposite is the truth. The lower your cholesterol is, the more of a chance you'll actually have cardiovascular disease or a heart attack. So
Damn.
people got to realize like there's a ton of research out there that say statins work. It's because it's bought and paid for by pharmaceutical companies. All the medical journals out there are so corrupt because they get significant amount of funding from big pharma, to keep publishing their stuff. Like for example, like there was a interview with the editor of New England Medical Journal, which is the most prestigious journal in the whole world.
Yeah.
even said that you can't trust what is published research when it comes to medications and vaccines. And it's tough. So it's like, where do you find what you're actually looking for? How do you do research if everything is out there? And like I said before, Google is just one big propaganda machine that's paid for by pharmaceutical companies. So it's very tough to find and do your research properly.
Well, I agree with you.
Hmm.
And also it's looking behind the curtain on what you're finding. Okay. What I mean by that is, like, for example, these studies, they'll say who funded the study. Okay.
Hmm.
They'll say who created it. And then also, listen, if it fails to say, look at the doctors that are involved in the studies, follow the breadcrumbs, who are they endorsed by, all these different things. Listen, all the knowledge and research is out there. Okay. And so, Brian, you bring up another great thing, and I think this falls very much in line with what we're talking about today, how things are connected. I think it's important for that while we're looking at the research, we also get we have rigor in our research, as far as, okay, we're going to look this thing up. Yes. And also, okay, well, who is this jabroni that's saying this? Oh, okay, it's a progressive doctor from Germany. Oh, it's this guy from Wyoming that's funded by Pfizer. Oh,
Hmm.
it's like
Yeah.
you'll find, like, listen, especially if you're tuning into us every week, you'll become Columbo. Okay, you're gonna start researching shit to know what the heck is going on. So, anything else, like, you want to just highlight from last week? Because I want to touch on this thyroid piece, man, and really start to bring in how a lot of these are connected. But
Yeah, just one other thing. I forgot if we talked about it last week. There's so much information on this stuff. My brain is
it was
overloaded with we have like probably 30 pages of this stuff that we're going with notes. So one big thing is too is depression, all-time high. That has a direct correlation with testosterone. I was reading a study one time and it said 86% of people with low testosterone in the study and that were coming out in the blood panel had depression and vice versa. Most people that have depression, you take their testosterone levels, 86% of the chance they have low T. So, but when you
big.
go to the doctor, what do they do? The very first thing to do is put you on an SSRI, and which actually causes your testosterone to be lower. It just our medical system is so jacked up. It's insane. It's insane.
It Listen, it truly, it is. It is. It's a money making freaking powerhouse. I'm showing this here because when I was going through this and the symptoms of low testosterone, I was shocked. I'm so happy you mentioned depression, and I really I think we failed to bring that in the session last week. And if we did,
Yeah.
it was probably very short a time. Listen, these are the things here when we're talking about the symptoms of low testosterone. Take a look at these different things, right? There's so many of these things that can be attributed to other things, like, for example, low sex drive. Like, gosh, she just doesn't do it for me anymore. Depression, I just got a lot on my mind. Difficulty sleeping, like, I'm very stressed. Okay, like, I got sleep apnea. Okay, um, low sperm count. I didn't have enough CMOS. Fatigue. You know what, man? I've been burning the midnight oil. There's a whole bunch of these things, especially, I'm talking to you, men. There's a whole
Hmm.
bunch of these things that we have, and then all of a sudden we act as if it's something else, when really it could be something as simple, not even as simple, but something like a low testosterone that can be addressed with exercise, supplementation, awareness of intake. So this is really interesting stuff, and the reason why I pulled this out is because, when you're having these things, and if you're going to your doctor, bring up the suggestion, like, hey, could this be low testosterone? Because we test my levels.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of times you are going to be the one that's going to get to save you
Yeah.
and
And
ask those difficult questions.
yeah, and when you get your results back, the doctors will just look at one number on a blood panel.
Mm-hmm.
Really, they make their decision off that one number, basically. A lot of them don't know how to diagnose it.
Mm,
So you can have a lot of testosterone in your body, but if it's not getting to the right parts of your body, it doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean?
mm.
So you need to find somebody out there that actually is qualified and knows how to read blood tests good. That's a big thing. I've had doctors, I've had sent clients to doctors that have like, men have like man boobs and, and they're like the belly's hanging out and they can't put on muscle and they're like 40% body fat. And they're like, oh, my doctor said my testosterone was normal. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, and I look at their blood test and it's like, yeah, it might be in the normal range compared to most Americans, but like I said before, most Americans look like Homer Simpson. You want to be optimal,
Yes.
and then all of a sudden they start doing testosterone, doing it like not even really a lot of the times, not even like putting testosterone in the body. It's like, hey, let's get you on a high powered multivitamin so your body can actually break down or turn your cholesterol into testosterone. Because
Yeah.
it doesn't
Yeah.
just happen. Like your cholesterol doesn't just turn into testosterone. You need like zinc, B's, B vitamins, A vitamins, and all C vitamins, all this stuff. So sometimes you have enough in there, but you don't have enough of the trace minerals in there, or the vitamins, or the other stuff that can actually do the conversion. And that has a lot
Mm,
to do with their
mm,
shitty, our food system. So
mm,
you need to find somebody that really knows how to diagnose a blood test. I mean, we'll
mm.
get into that a little bit later, what kind of test you should do, but don't just take your doctor's word for it. That's all I'm saying. Do not take your doctor and you don't want to be normal. Normal sucks. Normal's you're not
Yeah.
going anywhere with normal. And nowadays normal, you can't even keep a goldfish alive with the normal levels on stuff.
Shoot,
Yeah.
bruh. It's like lowering the standard. So something else that, as you were talking, something else that came up for me was when you were talking about the receptors. A lot of times the receptors for testosterone are blocked.
Yes.
So even if we have testosterone in the body, it could be just stuck in the body and really and fail to get utilized.
Yeah.
So this we'll talk some more on that. But I think it's yeah, this one right here is something special. Now speaking of something special, I want to touch on or begin to transition into this thyroid piece because I
Mhm.
know when we talk about, and I mentioned it several minutes ago, when it comes to testosterone, there's usually the thought of like, oh, this is a guy's conversation, when that's far from the truth. Especially when it comes to thyroid conditions. And when you think about hypo or hyperthyroidism, a lot of times that's prevalent in women. So I thought that it was really interesting, Brian, when we touched on the last conversation about how the thyroid condition could be impacted by low testosterone.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah. So when
fascinated
you
by that,
yeah
man. How does that happen?
Yeah, so when you get if you feel like your thyroid's low, um, definitely get a thyroid test done, get a testosterone test done. If you feel like your testosterone was low, like you might have depression, get a testosterone test done, and also get a thyroid test done. Just one test ain't gonna really do too much.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to make sure you have both. And thyroid plays actually a pretty critical role in it. So the way thyroid works, like your T4 converts into T3, which is the active form of thyroid. And there needs to be a multiple number of conversions taking place for this to actually happen. So it just doesn't happen automatically, T4 to T3.
And the
You
T
need like,
stands for thyroid.
yeah, T stands for
Okay.
thyroid. Yep.
Okay.
So you
Gotcha.
need
Okay.
like selenium in your vitamin A to be at optimal levels.
Okay.
So you also need for that conversion to happen, but you also need your liver to be healthy because 60% of T4 to T3 takes place in your liver. 20% takes place in your bowels, depending on how healthy your gut microbiome was, like we talked about. So when you have low or you're hypothyroid, you have hypothyroidism, does your doctor be like, hey, let's take some liver tests. Let's see what's going on with your liver. Let's see if you're backed up. You have too much toxins in your body. Do you think they ask you about your toxins? No, of course not. Do you think they ask you about your nutrition to kind of see how healthy your microbiome is? Do you think they look at your probiotics or anything like that? Of course not. Do you think they do a vitamin analysis and see where your selenium and your vitamin A are at optimal levels? Of course not. They kind of give you like Synthroid, they put you on Synthroid, which kind of cranks up what they do is they crank up your T3, which helps you burn more fat.
Mm,
But the problem with that, when you take too much T3 or you're on too much Synthroid, it actually breaks down muscle. So you might lose weight, but you're becoming skinny fat. This also creates hypertrophy, which is basically enlargement, and it creates
mm,
hypertrophy of the heart. And it also increases something called SBHG, sex binding hormone globulin, which basically in simple terms, when you have too much of this SBHG, it binds up a lot of your testosterone. And so your body can't use it. So we talked about before, like I've seen people were like testosterone like through the roof, but it's not getting used properly. It's all getting bound up by this SBHG molecule, and you can't use it. It's almost like you're going out and the best analogy I can think of is like you can have all the testosterone in the world, but you don't have the receptors or anything like that. You're basically taking a nice car to go out to dinner, but you have nowhere to park it. So you're just going around the restaurant the whole time, and you're not able to park your car. So another side note too, as you age, your SBHG increases, which binds up more of your testosterone. And then when this happens, your testosterone levels drop and you lose androgen receptors. So you need optimal thyroid function. So when you're going to your endocrinologist for low testosterone, they aren't looking at your thyroid levels. They're not looking at your toxic overload. They're not looking at your cholesterol. They're not looking at your overall stress load. You know, they just look at your thyroid levels, and they give you a pill and be like, see you later. Let's see how those numbers react next time you come around.
Being quick. So my mind goes to like when I hear things like your toxic overload or stress load.
Mm-hmm.
What what's the way to even measure that? Like what first I mean first can you like when you say toxic overload, like the amount of
Yeah.
this is like the toxins that are flooding your body that have like no way of getting out of your body? Is that what you're referring to, or is this
Yeah, you're
something else?
basically your liver. It's like almost like trying to think like I'm really bad with cars, but like when you put like a filter in a car, you ever like go get an oil change and they're like, hey,
Yeah.
you need to change your filter and you take it out and like all this crap is hanging around it.
Crud. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like almost like your liver. Like your liver is so backed up that it can't really cleanse itself anymore. And that has a lot to do with just like shit that we're putting in our body, stuff we're breathing in. Even if you live like an amazing, healthy life, we're breathing in toxins all the time. We're around people that maybe have perfume or whatever it is, and you're just breathing all this stuff in. And after a while, it gets clogged up if if you're not taking enough, like good vitamins or something like that to kind of help it along. So you need, in order to like, and then you see a lot of people, they do like detoxes, and it doesn't do anything because you can't detox something for a week or two, and then for the rest of the 50 weeks out of the year, you just, eat like shit, you
Right.
know.
Right.
You need a lot of like vitamin A's, vitamin B's, a lot of zincs, a lot of selenium, a lot of like so much stuff you need in your
Yeah.
body to kind of make that process optimal.
It's very interesting, man, because well, specifically what's interesting is the talk that you're saying about the detox or fast and then like the actions after it. Because I think
Yeah.
that's just as important as the actual detox. It's like I remember well, I'm actually going into a detox coming up in January, which is like
Mhm.
bless up to my man Omar. It's like liver cleanse, all this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
he's got the herbs and these vitamins and stuff. And
Mhm.
I end up feeling great afterwards.
Mhm.
And his biggest thing is like, you got to ease yourself back into it. So now you start learning and I forget what's the word I'm looking for.
Reduce foods,
Recalibrate. What's that?
like reintroducing foods back in your
Yeah.
system.
Yes, like
Yeah.
reintroducing foods and recalibrating your my lifestyle. Like,
Yeah.
like what like for example, perfect thing. What supplements am I gonna actually be bringing into my body? What types
Yeah.
of veggies, what types of fruits? Even like going off a metabolic diet, like just starting to recognize like, oh, junk, like okay, I could start eating this more. I could eat this. I could eat that. I could eat that. What
Mhm.
feels good in my body? Because every time I do one of those detox, it's like I feel how food makes me feel.
Yeah.
Whereas right now, where I'm running about 10 pounds heavier than usual, it's like, oh yeah, let me just nom nom nom. I'm not really. I'll be sluggish, but it's not like after a detox where I'm like, oh God, no, no more of that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think this is important, especially when we talk about this. I'm glad I asked about the toxic overload, and I'm thinking it's the same with the stress load too. Like basically, is that internal or external stress that you're referring to?
Could be
Or both?
anything, man. Oh, yeah, both of them. Definitely. Like we talked about the different types of stressors in your body and just kind of kind of go back to what you were saying about like the liver.
Yeah.
But basic blood tests, when you do like a yearly exam on your blood tests, they usually have a part for your liver to see what are backed up in there, what numbers are too high and too low.
Yeah.
Again, go by normal ranges, do your research or reach out to one of us. We'll tell you what the optimal ranges are. But based on where your liver enzymes are, that'll let you know, like, what you need to do or what maybe some supplements you might be, shy in or whatever like that. That'll help to kind of make those optimal as well too. Because
Bless
a lot
up.
of people there, they might have too much, like liver enzymes might be too high. That means like maybe too much crap is in their system. So they'll do like some kind of like cleanse or some kind of detox, and it just, man, they feel like they have the flu for 2 weeks. All that shit just kind of swimming in your bloodstream, and you don't have
Yeah.
enough quality minerals and vitamins in your body to kind of flush it out, which we could talk about in one of our episodes of detoxification. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, dude, we may have to, maybe after I'm done with mine, I'm most likely gonna be doing the 21 day.
mhm.
Um, because it's just like, it's really actually, the detox is like a week, but then like it's like soups and juices and
Yeah,
like serums, all that stuff.
you're hitting the reset button, buddy.
Bruh, yo,
Yeah, 21 days, that's no joke, man. But
no
you're gonna
joke,
feel good
man.
after it. Just
Huh?
really crank, you're gonna feel great on it. I would just really crank up your amino acids, make sure you're flushing everything out. I mean, you
Bro,
know the
bless up.
recipe. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Perfect, man. Cause like I could tell I'm like, ugh. And plus I'm doing that bofu or bufu
yeah.
ceremony
Oh,
in
buddy.
boy. I'm like, man, I'm about to flush everything out, man, including my
Say
ego.
say hi to God for me.
Yeah, most def. I'm like, hey God, Brian says hello. He'll be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
hello.
He'll tell you all the secrets, man.
Yo, bro,
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that. But we're gonna have
dude,
an episode on that.
I can't
I
wait for it.
want to come back to this because listen, this is huge, man. Especially because bro, I'm unsure, and maybe you're experiencing the same. I found that being in the health and well-being space, I would say probably over the last like 5 to 7 years, the uptick in thyroid this experience and thyroid imbalances and conditions has gone
Yeah,
through the roof, man.
yeah. It's all the environment. It's all the toxins in our environment. It's the foods that we eat. Our
Jeez.
food. I mean, I don't know how many times we got to say it. Our food's poison. It's a toxins in our environment. It's the stress that we put on our body. Even if it's like mental, emotional stress. I mean, like anytime your body's under stress, your body literally thinks it's dying. It thinks it's in the fight or flight. So what does it do? It lowers your thyroid so you can store more fat. Because fat's a major source of energy, and it's very hard to lose weight. It's very hard to lose weight. Then you go to the doctor, and the doctor does what he does. He puts you on a T3, which speeds up your metabolism in an artificial way, makes you lose weight, but the weight that you're losing is muscle mass. You become skinny fat. It just goes down this nasty rabbit hole. you know.
Not good, bro. Not
But
good.
we repeat ourselves a lot here because we got to get the point across. That's our whole mission: get the point across. And hopefully one day, maybe after the 100th time we say it, it clicks for one person out there, and then and that's it, man. It's all worth it.
Here's to it clicking, B. Here's to it clicking, man.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I gotta tell you, this is helpful because even as I'm listening to this, I'm like, wow, man. Um, there's so there are so many things that that contribute to overall health and well-being, and it's such a matter of paying attention and also knowing where to pay attention. Because some
Yeah.
of the things like I've heard you say like over the past while you were talking before is that we could get lulled and what I'm hearing you say is we could get lulled to sleep with this quote unquote normal statistic,
Yeah.
right? Like your levels are normal compared to what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Compared to someone that's like obese?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to be that. So I think that's an important factor because I'm thinking for myself, and it had me on a little thought trail. I'm like, damn, man, when I see my levels and my doctor's like, hey, man, and I'm seeing like when I look at my blood work and I'm seeing, oh, my arrow's in the green. I'm like,
Mhm.
baby, go, let's go to Sizzler, man. I'm good to go, right? Really, it's like that normal thing is like, well, what's really in the numbers? And I'm inviting people as you're hearing this and like you're like, well, I got my blood, I got my numbers. Okay, cool. Now remember we talked about in the beginning of the session. Get your Columbo on.
Yeah.
Start digging a little bit deeper than the first layer of information that you get. I think that and this thyroid piece is huge, and we also touched on cholesterol too, B.
Yeah.
I know that was something, especially I mean we've already done a podcast specifically on cholesterol,
Yeah.
so you all can go back check that goody good out. But like B, is there anything? Because listen, we had a lot on cholesterol last time, but in light of what we were just talking about with the thyroid, is there anything that you can think of that you think would be important, especially in how testosterone plays a role, how it plays a role in thyroidism, and then also how it plays a role with cholesterol levels.
Yeah, I mean, cholesterol in general, man, like it has such a bad rap. I mean, the statins are absolutely horrible. If you're on a statin, you're setting yourself up for so much shit to happen to your body.
Mm,
So, like for example, like when you go on a statin, it lowers your cholesterol. All right, so what happens when you lower your cholesterol? It makes your cells rigid. It causes leakage in all of your cells because your cells are rigid, right? So it's almost like if you have a tight muscle, the chance of it tearing goes through the roof. Same thing with your cells. Leakage in your cells, it depletes bile salts. So now your body can't break down all the nutrients in your food. It
mm,
lowers your LDL, which people think is bad cholesterol, which is no such thing as bad and good cholesterol. It lowers your LDL, which is the most powerful antioxidant in your blood vessels. It creates, so your body needs testosterone. I'm sorry, your body needs cholesterol to create testosterone. And we
mm,
talked about how testosterone, it actually increases the chance of having a heart attack. So when you have low testosterone, it increases the chance of having a heart attack. So low cholesterol, more like I think it's like almost like a 300% chance of having a heart attack. And as a direct correlation, there's a direct correlation between low T cardiovascular disease. And so, like, cholesterol makes hormones, it makes antioxidants. One in particular is called coenzyme Q10, which is
yeah.
needed. Yeah, everybody, it's very powerful antioxidant. You need it for energy, you know. Another thing is statins. They block something called your HMG coenzyme A, which is needed to make cholesterol, and it's needed to make Q10 and all the other antioxidants in your body. If you have low magnesium and vitamin C, your cholesterol will be high naturally. But again, you go to your doctor and you say you have high cholesterol. Did they test your magnesium and your vitamin C? No, those are probably like the probably most abundant vitamins in your body that it's people are depleted in. People don't have enough of that in there. And one of the reasons is because anytime your body's under any kind of stress, your body leaks magnesium and it leaks vitamin C. Your adrenals need vitamin C. So if you have like, for example, like hypothyroid, all right, you will have high cholesterol. And if your insulin is always elevated, you will turn on this HMG coenzyme A reductase. That's that molecule which makes actually more insulin. So a lot of people have messed up blood sugar levels. That's actually one of the major having too much insulin in your body is actually one of the major causes of cardiovascular disease. Not it may be even the most common cause of more cardiovascular disease. But also, we talked about liver before. More toxins equal more cholesterol. Basically, cholesterol, what it is anytime your body is under any kind of inflammation, your liver will produce more cholesterol to kind of almost like cool it off. So when people have like, for example, people have like when they have a heart attack, and they do like, say they do like an autopsy and they come back and high cholesterol could be there, but it's not the crime. Cholesterol is not the crime. It's kind of like if your house is on fire and the fire trucks pull up and somebody takes a picture, be like, oh, the fire trucks are there. They're the one that committed the crime. No, that's not the fire trucks. It's the person who set the house on fire.
Right.
So there's a lot of things going on uh, with statins. And if you're on a statin, man, I highly, highly, highly recommend getting off it. They know for about 50 years what this stuff does and it just makes so much money, makes so much money. And so, you're being tricked into thinking that statins actually do something good. Take responsibility for yourself. If you think your cholesterol is really high, try to stop whatever inflammation you got going in your body, control your blood sugar levels. Those are the two biggest things. Otherwise, you will have so many issues. You will have testosterone issues. You will have everything. I think we talked about this last week too, where about one out of every, what was it, one out of every four people in the US at the age of 44 or over are on a statin. That's insane. That's
Jeez, one out
insane.
of four, you said?
One out of four. For every one out of every four people in the U.S. over the age of 44 is on a statin. It's absolutely insane. These doctors, they have it such ass backwards. They don't even know anymore. It's ridiculous.
Jeez.
Yeah. So that was my little rant on cholesterol. Talk to anybody that knows anything about cholesterol. Don't talk to your doctor. Doctor doesn't, like I hate bashing doctors. I have a lot of friends that are good doctors. I mean, I've learned so much from extremely smart doctors,
Yeah.
but about 95% of them, they're just pharmaceutically trained robots who don't even understand the first thing about health prevention.
Yeah.
It's a bold statement to make, but I don't give a shit if there's any doctors listening and I'm hurting their feelings. If I'm hurting your feelings, you're one of those 95%.
Yeah, exactly, man.
So,
Step your game up.
yeah, go and
Step
go in
your
your
game up.
safe go in your safe space.
Listen, people that are hearing this, doctors, hey man, step your game up. People that are outside of being doctors and that are patients, again, these are keys.
Mhm.
These are tools. These are tidbits. Take control of your health. Okay. I'm talking to myself as I'm talking to you. Okay. I'm looking to get on Brian level. All right. So but I'm joking and I'm serious. Like, listen, me doing this podcast, and we've been doing this podcast for almost half a year already.
Mhm.
Um, can you believe that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
I know this has been huge for me because like it has helped me have a different and in my judgment a better relationship with my doctor because I can ask him specific things. I can ask for specific things. And when he's like, well, where'd you hear about this? I'm like, man, mind your business and just get me the freaking tests, man. But no seriousness. I mean, I do let him know, like, yo, I'm doing my research. And you know what he says to me? He's like, good for you. It's listen, he's like, we're one method.
Hmm.
I said, bless up, Dr. T. Listen, man. So people, the reason so I'm saying this, because Brian, I think sometimes when we say that, I get this thought in my head that people would be resistant to asking their doctor for these things because they're like, well, what this is like, hey doc, hey, what about this? Ah, don't worry about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so, huh?
Yeah. Most of them are very opinionated, because of that's what they've been trained to do, and
Right.
they're not used to asking people kind of like, punching back a little bit, and if your
Exactly.
doctor is not open to it, if he gives you any kind of negativity, it's time to find a new doctor.
Yeah, bro.
Find a new
Yeah.
doctor that's kind of open to different modalities. Listen, there's a time and place for everything. We talked about in the episode one, time and place for everything. But just know when you're like, man, these statins are just trash. It is absolute trash.
Doo
You
doo.
know, it's sad because these pharmaceutical companies they brainwash a lot of people. You know, but you know
That's the name of the game, though, B.
that's it, man. It's all
He
about
with the
money.
most marketing dollar, man, will get the freaking most attention. He or
All about
she
money.
or
Yep.
it, you know.
Yeah.
And because I say it because they're entities.
Mm-hmm.
They're these companies that like look, they hey, we're making this we're making this thing here, and like listen, we're gonna do whatever. You know what's funny? It's sort of random and not. I was watching this. It was a mini series. I'm failing to recall if it was on Netflix or Prime, but it was with Matthew Broderick and it was talking about the oxycodone
Mm.
dynasty, right?
Yeah.
Like how they became big and all these things. And I thought it was interesting because as I was watching the movie, I grew a little perturbed when I saw that they knew what was going on and they chose to deflect or paint it in a different light and picture.
Oh yeah.
And it had me in between the episodes. I was just pondering, like, damn, man, how many other companies are doing this, right? That know what the deal is, right? Because like they got to go through these FDA trials allegedly, and usually they could probably give them the Varden grip, like, yo, man, here's this check for
Hmm.
18 mil,
Yeah.
right on.
The
So,
FDA is one of the most corrupt institutions out there. Like people are like, oh,
yes,
it's FDA
yes,
approved. What the fuck does that mean? That doesn't mean
no,
anything. You
no,
know,
absolutely not.
it's literally a criminal organization. They knew what they're doing with the opioids. They knew they were going to get people hooked. They didn't care.
Bruh. And you know what's interesting, man? You say this when they had in this movie again, there was a person in the FDA that was giving them the business. Be like, you know what, man? Like, no, okay, like, hey, great, no, you're not passing it. No, we're not passing it. Then they talked about how they brought this dude to a location undisclosed. No one knows what happened in there, but he passed it. And a year later, he quit the FDA and started working for the company that made oxycodone. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Or whatever, oxycontin and shit.
Yeah, people need to,
So
yeah, people need to realize like just because it's FDA approved does not mean it's safe. I mean, you can go down the rabbit hole. I remember, I mean, if you look up right now, the largest criminal lawsuit, I think it's Pfizer, as of 4 or 5 years ago, was Pfizer. So, and they basically purposely, like you can look this up right now, they purposely, I forgot the name of the drug they put out there, knew it would hurt people. And they got sued for hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. But all of a sudden now, they try to keep it hush hush and it's public knowledge. But then all of a sudden, people are like, Pfizer comes out with a vaccine, and people are running out. Oh, it's FDA approved. To me, it's like if you knew somebody that was a criminal, would you buy anything off them? No.
bruh,
Not to
nope.
mention the number one criminal in the world. Would you trust this person? No.
Nah, man.
But
Nah,
they had the largest criminal lawsuit out there, and they come up with a vaccine, and everyone's running out there because most people are just brainwashed, and they just start injecting themselves with these vaccines without, doing too much knowledge, too much research on it.
but,
It's one thing. Listen, I mean, I know a lot of people are listening to this and right now and got the vaccine. It's not a personal attack against you. If you did your research and you used your common sense and was like, all right, after all the research I did, I really think this is going to be beneficial for me. That's one thing. But just to go out there and blindly get this stuff done and put it in your body by trusting one of the government organizations, I think you're missing something,
well,
in
B,
my
I
opinion.
want to. You and I have had conversations about this on this platform and offline, and I'm 100% in agreement with what you're saying. As you're saying it, though, one something hit me, and I think when there's an organization, I think, and this is part of the bigger brainwash, right? When there's an organization that is touted as like this massive organization, like, and they are massive, like, no one's
Hmm.
specific, but a massive organization that's like the industry leader, there's a perception that they know and that they're held accountable, right? It's like, I think it's an unconscious or however you want to label it. It's this unconscious belief that, like, well, if they say it's good, then it must be good.
Hmm.
And I think some people get so caught in that because, bless up to our guy Earl Nightingale, most people fail to think.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens is when we fail to think, we go into we go into this reptilian brain, like, safety, large, well
Hmm.
known, that's safe. I'll get the vaccine.
Yep.
It's a trend, man. It's just like we were talking about before, Brian, where we talk about normal levels, right? Hey, it's normal. Everybody's getting it as normal. Normal for who? Right?
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
thing is people will go and do that. And then what happens is, because I mean, listen, that's one of the reasons I'm really excited about what we do here, because it's easy to follow a trend. Okay. It requires more attention and intention to have control of your health, because that means, hey, I'm going to do some research. Hey, you know what? Oh, yeah, that's what that is. Let me see what's in this piece. Okay. We're starting to build brainwaves here, people. The fact that you all are tapping into this every week, best believe you are changing how you perceive your health and well being. Okay. Please believe that. Because if you're giving us the intention and you listen to what we're saying, stuff is sinking in.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Stuff is damn sure sinking in, God damn it. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Yep, booyaka shot. So yo, dude. So let's speaking of this, right? Especially speaking of being a conscious, aware participant in a person's health, right? The person, giving the person the tools to do that. You mentioned already some tests. You mentioned the thyroid test. I think it was the thyroid test you said, and also the testosterone test. Are there any other tests or protocols that you would recommend for people to begin to look into in regards to all this, man?
Yeah, I would get a like a vitamin test, vitamin and mineral test. Sometimes you can do that through like a hair analysis, and it'll give you a list of like all your vitamins basically. Get that done because that's very important. That's like it's almost like those it's like plugs that like we talked about before, like cholesterol makes testosterone converts into pregnenolone, which creates in like all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you need those A vitamins, you need those B vitamins, you need those zinc, you need the magnesium and all that, everything like that to make those conversions possible. So, like I said before, you can have a lot of testosterone, but it might not be converted in anything because you're low on vitamins. Getting a hair analysis or something like that for your vitamin and mineral levels will be big for you, and you know how to supplement that as
Mm,
well.
okay. Because now I get that. Now I know exactly what types of vitamins and stuff I'll need or I'm
Yeah,
deficient in, so I can start to build that up.
yeah,
Okay, bless
yeah.
up. Any other
Mhm.
ones?
No, I mean the liver enzymes will be important. You can get your thyroid test done. Testosterone levels will be important too. That'll give you a bunch of androgens on those, which are basically like your steroid hormones. And again, find somebody that knows how to analyze these tests for you.
Okay.
Go to somebody that has a proven track record. Go to doctors. Best thing I would say is find doctors. That's how I did it. I found doctors that actually teach because doctors that teach, they have most of the time they have proven records of actually helping people. Find doctors that read books or I'm sorry, wrote books and stuff like that. I have like so many books back there. Like I have so many mentors from doctors and everything like that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not bashing doctors. I mean, I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't, have them as mentors.
Yeah.
But find doctors that I'm not saying every doctor that writes a book is the the next coming of Jesus. But chances are they they're writing books because they know something, and you can go to their courses, you can do some online courses, read their books and everything like that.
Yeah. Praise Jesus.
Praise Jesus.
Dr. Jesus.
Yeah.
Listen, dude, man. This was lively. This was lively, man. I'm happy that we did this. I'm happy that we're doing this. I want to put another call. Listen, if you're watching this, hit the like button. If you like what we're saying here, hit the like button. Leave a comment. I'm curious, as you're watching this, I'm curious, leave a comment on what you were experiencing when Brian and I were talking about the like doctors and like the big farmers and stuff like that. Again, this is free of the intention of bashing anyone. We're just calling it like we see it. You know what I mean? And what you're experiencing matters. And we want to have conversation here. This isn't,
Yeah.
like we want to be like, shut the hell up. You know what you're talking about? No, we want to like what you're experiencing, share, please share. So it's part of how we like to go about doing things because we want to do the research. We want to bring you the best information, the most research information, most recent information, and part of that is us hearing your experience.
Yeah. And
You
also
know,
like, our healthcare is like I think it's like 2 to 3 times more expensive than like the second leading nation in the world. And we're ranked like near the 40th in efficiency. Somebody needs to be held accountable for that.
To, yep,
Somebody needs to be held accountable for that.
yep,
And that starts with our government, and that trickles down into doctors, and that trickles down to, whatever underneath that, to maybe to yourself as far as taking responsibility for yourself.
yeah, and that's my call for the folks, man. Take responsibility for yourself, okay? And again, as I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me. Because as at the point of this recording, I'm running a little heavy, dealing with some stress recently. Body has been, my body's been like, do you still love me? Of course I do, baby. I'm just gonna enjoy this freaking cheesecake. But just like, bruh. So listen, and I'm gonna say this here. As you're tuning into your body, check the signs. Okay. Check the signs. And I'm going to give you an example. Okay. So, like for me, I knew some shit was off for me and it was time for me to ease off when I saw my ankles started getting swollen. I'm like, oh, fuck, man.
We went from a
Like,
size 12 shoe to a 13.
I did. I did. I'm like, yo, why my shoes all tight? What? God damn. But it's like when I was looking at when I saw the I was like, okay, let me look at like what's my life been like over the past several days. Okay, it was a lot of holiday parties, drinks, heavy food, very little water. So I'm like, oh shit, man. Like I haven't had a veggie in freaking like weeks, man. You know what I mean? Like I haven't been drinking water. I have like a little sip. I'll be like, okay, I'm good, man. Can I
Yeah.
get that gin and yeah, thanks. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I say this, and I'm being real with you all. It's like, especially at the time of this is a little bit after the holidays. The time you're seeing this a little bit after the holidays. So it's a perfect opportunity for you to really take stock of what's going on for your body, what's going on for your health, what's going on for your mind, because it's all connected, this is the theme. This stuff is all connected, people.
Yeah.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
You know? So we're connected to you. You're connected to us. We're connected to your health and well-being because we want you to live and thrive. B, any last words for the folks?
Oh, man. Yeah. Put some comments in there. I want to know what people are doing or maybe put your cholesterol score. I'm sorry, not your cholesterol score. Put your testosterone scores in there. Yeah.
Oh,
We'll put you on a little bit on blast. I'd be
ooh.
curious.
B,
And
I'm
then,
gonna okay. Look, I'm gonna put mine in, man. I'm gonna get my test. I gotta reach out to my doc and get this test, man.
yeah. Remember, high doesn't actually mean bad, or low doesn't actually mean bad either. It's like how it's being converted. Also, yeah, if you have any questions on, who to follow out there that are experts in the field, I'd be more than happy to drop some names and people that I've used and I've studied under personally that can help you analyze some of these tests, or I can do my best to help you analyze these tests. I've done probably analyzed, 500 of these things in my life. Uh, Shoot us an email over, and we'll do our best to kind of help you out. We'll set up a consultation. We'll figure it out from there.
Perfecto. Peace, everybody. Listen, remember, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, all that good stuff. If there's a topic that you're like, man, why wish Brian and Paul would talk about this? Then perfect. Write it in the comments. Okay? Write it in the comments so we can put it on the agenda. We appreciate you all. Be easy, be well. We're out of here. Peace.